Seems like he's just got too much power, too much grip. Send it over turn 5. Car gets pretty loose there. Hello everybody, it's Sean Milburn here with Milburn Motorsports again today. I'm bringing you a track video today, so this is going to be a little bit different. Something I really wanted to try for you guys is get some video of me driving around some various tracks and then explaining what I'm doing while I'm watching the footage. So we're going to be going over the BMW E36 323i. This is my friend's car. It's gutted and it has some suspension work done to it on some sticky tires, but it's completely stock in terms of the motor. So it makes about 160 to the crank, which is pretty slow. This is a slow car that you can actually make go fairly decently fast, and I'm going to show you guys that right now. So we're going to go ahead and start the video up. This is me just on the out lap. So you're always going to want to follow the blend line. You don't really want to cross this line when you're entering the track for this exact reason. Cars flying by you at about 90 miles an hour into turn 1. This is just going to be me kind of heating up the tires, getting an initial feel for the car, and then we're going to be putting in some hot laps. My initial thoughts were it's pretty planted. It seems to drive fairly well. I wasn't having too much issue with the car trying to over-rotate on me. I think a lot of that was due to the lack of power. It was just very smooth pretty much the whole time. This is towards the end of the day, so it's not peak Thunderhill heat. Normally this track, it can be like 100 degrees outside sometimes, but we're here in the winter, and this is probably at about 3:30 p.m. So track is cooled down a little bit. This was directly after the Handicraft Pro Driving race that DriveTrackTime.com hosts. So you can see in turn 8 here, there is a big oil slick going up the whole hill. Somebody blew their engine up. It was an S2000 during that race, and now I'm just kind of taking it easy. I don't want anything to happen to my friend's car because I don't want to have to pay for that. So take it easy over the oil slick here. Wasn't actually too bad though. I went over it. It didn't feel super slippery. I tested the tires out right here actually. I kind of start getting the car moving left and right, test the brakes to make sure it won't slide, and it doesn't seem like there's too much residue that's on the rubber, so it seems like we might be okay for sending it decently quickly through that corner. I do have a lap timer in this car, but the problem with this timer is it's just a GPS phone app, so it's not completely accurate, and sometimes it was showing very, very quick times that were very impossible for this car to do. I would say that this car is probably around, I could get a good 209 out of it, I could get a 208 if that oil slick wasn't there, most likely. We got faster traffic coming up on me, you can see in the mirror, so we're going to go ahead and let them by. This is in the open group. Everybody here should know track etiquette and how everything works, so we shouldn't have any problems with that. For those of you that haven't been to the Thunderhill 3-mile track doing the bypass, in a future video, once I return to this track, I will be making a video on a tutorial on how this track functions and the line for it, what the best way to kind of drive it is, and I'll have a track map up, so I'll even have the whiteboard from the track to be able to teach you guys how things work. So right here you can see me coming through turn 5. That was my first initial test of how well the traction worked in this car. Turn 5 is a pretty decent spot to find the edge of traction if you're going to find it. It's a downhill off-camber turn, and it felt pretty good. Again, turn 8, you can see all of the debris on the track. I watched the S2000 go through it, get loose there, so that kind of told me, all right, not enough grip. to really send it through that corner yet, but we might get there. Again, right here, still residue on the tires, completely blew that corner due to the brakes not working to their full potential when I stepped off the brake pedal. I also went for the turn in. You can see the car wouldn't turn, so I was sawing the wheel a little bit, trying to test for that traction as I was on the brakes, and eventually got the car to rotate, went through it. So we're gonna have to really be careful turn 8, turn 9. It's kind of unfortunate, but we'll make it work. Right here, always gonna kind of want to turn late. Turning late here gives you a really good run over this big concrete patch, and you can treat the whole corner as one turn. It's definitely the best way to take this turn in any car once you're really actually moving out quickly. Alright, blend in with the blend line to find that apex. Back into turn 2, and we're feeling pretty good. The car is holding very well. You can see me testing the grip in the wheel, and the car doesn't want to rotate too much. It feels very solid. Decided to stick it into third gear here for turn 3. I felt the car liked it in this gear, though the suspension's very wound up. That's one of the things I noticed in this car is the way that my buddy has the suspension. It's basically just driving it like a go-kart. So everything's all wound up, and you're basically just driving it on the tires and the camber, trying to get the thing to move around the racetrack, which isn't a bad strategy, but I think we could get a little bit more finesse out of it. So I'll be helping him out, adjust the suspension, see if we can get this thing moving out a bit faster than that. Through here, move out through turn 8, and stay out of that fluid. Here I drive through it. Again, test the grip again, still getting a little bit of a slide. Can't really send it as hard as I need to through that corner. For this next lap, I'll just let you guys watch and see how it goes. Now we're starting a home run. Worked, so now just careful of the 9. 9 had traction. that was a pretty solid lap. We'll see what the time turns over. Once we get through turn 1, I believe is where the timer adjusts. So that looked like a 2:10. That was my goal when I jumped into this car. I was like, I know I can get it to do a 2:10. There it was, so let's see if we can get a little more out of it. Seems to be working really well. You can see how I'm moving the wheel and actually going left, right in little increments. Just like that. And that's just to make sure that the car is going to hold through the corner so that it won't start sliding too much. I have to move ahead to the next segment, which should be right. There we go. My GoPro chops these footages up in multiple sections, so I need to adjust the settings so that it'll take all one video, so I won't need to actually move on to a different segment. I'll be able to just do one seamless video. But until that, this is what we'll be doing. On my next track videos, I'm going to be actually at the racetrack while I'm filming. So instead of me just simply explaining what I'm doing while I'm driving, I'll actually be able to give you a video on the car, the setup, those kinds of things on top of me driving as well. 3 miles a really good track. Even the 2 miles a good track. The upsides to these tracks is there's really not a whole lot of things you can hit here. That is a very big part of coming to a track, is everybody's kind of scared that they're gonna go off the track and hit a wall or something catastrophic is gonna happen, but it's really not that bad once you have a few times under your belt. First time's always the scariest, and then it just gets more fun and fun after that because you start realizing what your car's lacking. It's the best way to figure out the weakest spot in your car. You'll always find the weakest spot in your car once you go to the racetrack, and then you'll know where to improve. You'll also find the weakest spot in your driving capabilities, which drivetracktime.com. That's where I go to all of my events, and I'm an instructor there. So if you guys want to have some professional instruction, come on out and we can get you all set up. That was a very fast downhill through turn 5. I'm getting way more comfortable in this car. Even though I'm having to make small corrections to it, it's within reason. It's driving a car hard and at kind of where the limit of it is without exceeding it. Once you start exceeding that limit is where some really hairy stuff can start going on. Again, flat out through turn 8, no lifting. Turn 9, see if the traction will hold. Slides out a little bit, but enough to spit me right out on the opposite edge of the track, which is kind of perfect. Still not the fastest due to that oil slick. Could get a little more time out of it, but I'm not too worried about it. If any of you have any questions or concerns or anything you'd like to know about racing or about driving around a racetrack or even prepping your car, pretty much any question you have, I will do my best to answer it for you. Just go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section down below and I'll get back to you. I read all of my comments, so don't feel like I won't respond to you. And there we go, there was a 2:09 on that lap. So that was a little quicker than the 2:10, and that was under the time that I set for myself. So that's already a win in my book. 2:09 in this car, 160 to the crank. That's excellent. That's a very, very fast time for 160 to the crank. We got this badass Audi in front of us here now, so we're gonna see if we can keep up a little bit in these corners. Seems like he's just got too much power, too much grip. Send it over turn 5. Car gets pretty loose there. It really tried to spin on me right there, and I had to do some serious saving maneuvers, but ended up being okay. When I was driving this, I could definitely tell the only thing this thing was lacking really was power. But once this thing does get more power, we gotta fix the suspension, because it's not gonna like being super wound up like this once, you know, it goes from 160 to the wheels to like 250. That's a big jump. Or to the crank, I'm sorry. 160 to the crank to 250 to the wheels, I believe is what he wants to do. Or even around there, like 200, 230. Let's go! End of the session. Pretty excited about my times for that. And there you have it. So if you guys want to see more videos like this, go ahead and let me know, and I'll see what I can do for you guys. I have all different kinds of content. I'm going to be doing this kind of stuff with my on-track race videos for the US Touring Car Championship, going over my thoughts while I'm in the car and what I'm doing. And if you guys just want the raw footage without me talking over it or without the face cam, also let me know, because I can pretty much put it any way. So just go ahead and let me know. Thank you guys for watching Milburn Motorsports, and I'll see you again in the next one.